start. I think this was one of the kind of like indie games which started this whole first-person experience thing. Super big picture for super big action. Yeah, 2 speakers. Okay, okay.
It's a matter of magnitude.
And thank you for the host. Oh my god, spoilers! Large captions? Huh?
Dear Esther, the morning after I was washed ashore, salt in my ears,
I'll
sand
fix
in
subs.
my mouth, and the waves always at my ankles, I felt as though everything had conspired to this one last shipwreck. I remembered nothing but water, stones in my belly and my shoes, threatening to drag me under to where only the most listless of creatures swim.
Oh! I thought we were in a cutscene. Let's see, was it in audio? What means closed captions over large captions? Holy moly, you see tearing. That is interesting. Let's see, video, crosshair advanced, anti-aliasing. Where is... This is not advanced. Wait for vertical sync. We're getting tearing with vertical sync. Okay. And it's walking super slowly as well. Sorry. Oh, you can zoom in as well. Open abandoned lighthouse here, music plays the background. Type of borders cannot play this, is still come out gentlemen. Of course. This one should be super short. So do not be surprised if we beat it, like, in a bit. This is all about the experience kind of thing. Oh. Oh. So is it possible to die in this game?
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
Okay, let's see if we will beat this game. If you can call it a game. You can call it an interactive story. But we will check this one out.
At night, you can see the lights sometimes from a passing tanker or trawler. From up on the cliffs, they are mundane. But down here...
Okay, okay. That was a bit too large.
They fugue into ambiguity. For instance, I cannot readily tell if they belong above or below the waves. The distinction now seems banal. Why not everything and all at once? There's nothing better to do here than indulge in contradictions whilst waiting for the fabric of life to unravel.
Text is so big, I can like have to move away. It depends on how many choices you can make. If there's no choices actually. You just walk, you listen to it, and then when you get to the end, it's over. You just walk through, listen to stuff. At most, you could call this kind of like a mix between visual and audio novel.
Crumpled and waterlogged under a stash of paint cans. It tells me that along with this present cargo, there was a large quantity of antacid yogurt bound for the European market. It must have washed out to sea. God knows there are no longer gulls or goats here to eat it.
I will follow the story, but ships with yogurt and what? VR audiobook market, lol. Yeah. That's what I think too.
Come back.
You can't die in the game, it seems. You cannot jump, you cannot crouch. There was nothing here. We cannot really go up here. Okay, this is getting... we'll give this game 40 minutes more, and if it's too painful, we might skip this game. If we can call this a game. We couldn't walk there, I couldn't really see any, you know, continuation. And walking around this slowly, like this, just hunting, you know, where to go next is... I don't know exactly. Mixed feelings. Very, very mixed feelings. I kind of found what's it called? Nathan? Was it the mystery, the disappearance of Dr. Nathan, or what was it called? That one was better than this one, I'd say. Still, if one would take this kind of like direction, trying to go with kind of like Myst would be good, I think. But that's just me. Others would be like, no puzzle games, no make miss puzzle games like this, no. Hehe. I think some people would be like that. Let's go over here. I think we will only do this area. So oh wait, we started from here. Oh damn it! Why? Oh. We just walked back the entire way. Gonna find me a game developer, then we're gonna pump out VR audiobooks all the time. Step 5 profit. Pretty much. I think it's pretty hard to sell these sort of stuff, at least at the moment, but you could probably make some sort of market for this. Oh no. Oh, no.
Come back.
Let me run! Game! That's the goal, I wager. So yeah, so we got it to 2 dead ends in this place. With appropriate marketing, this could go a ways. I don't know. Oh, right. We couldn't continue here because then we would fall down. Or could we? Oh, we could. Okay, cool. No, wait, we were up here, weren't we? Yeah. Yeah, we were. I remember. And this happened. And we fall down. Right. Now we just gotta find a way up. I wonder if this was done with the source engine. It probably was. Oh, okay. We weren't supposed to walk that direction. We were supposed to walk up here. Oh, sorry. I had muted microphone because of all the noise. Swedish rock candy. Made from Gränna. Is the town. Terrible candy for when streaming because you will be sitting and sucking on the candy for a very, very long time. Makes it very difficult to talk. Very difficult. But this
Reading
game...
Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. He landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons.
What's your hard candy go to? Huh? Local store who makes their own stuff. It is slightly expensive.
When someone had died or
But,
was dying,
it's
or
really
so
nice.
ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh. We are not like Lot's wife, you and I. We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
They also make their own cola chocolate or caramel chocolate, which is kind of like almost fudge-ish, and super tasty, super good. Oh, they kind of like have this super small place in the old town in Stockholm, and it's just fantastic. I was out on an interview.
I met Paul.
So I went by there.
I made my own little
because it was like, what the hell? Let's buy some.
Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life. I would leave you presents outside your retreat in this interim space between cliff and beach. I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I've run out of bread. I would row you back to your homeland in a bottomless boat, but I fear we would both be driven mad by the chatter of the sea creatures.
Sea creatures, eh? Very Lovecraftian, I'd have to say. Noise. Wait. Are we supposed to walk here? It's like we just went around in a circle. Alright then. Where to now? Aha, I see. I'm starting to I understand now how they do the level design. There is one path, you just have to follow it. Actually, I hope at least this is a path. But yeah, I think you would like all of those local made candy stores in Old Town. They're pretty cool. Normally, I kind of avoid
I've become convinced I'm not
hard
alone
candy.
here, even though I'm
Because
equally
of
sure
teeth.
it is simply a delusion brought upon
That's
by
upside.
circumstance. I do not, for instance, remember where I found the candles, or why I took it upon myself to light such a strange pathway. Perhaps it is only for those who are bound to follow.
With this music and so on, it kind of feels like a Souls game. Yeah, I love more than anything else walking through them, but in my state, at least I think I only know one that is a fudge making exclusive. Yeah. Ah. Here in Sweden, we there's kind of like a culture for this special rock candy, that which we call polka gris, which is kind of like polka pig, one could say. It's a straight up translation, which is this music is really well written. Yeah, I mean, the coolest part of the music is that
Dear
it
Esther, I have now
feels
driven the
very
stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over
designed
21
for that
times.
particular
But
path
although I
that
have
you
all
walk.
the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimeter
well.
using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome break services, but although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
There we go. Let's follow this path. I think the music is one of the best parts of this game. Was me as a kid, used to collect rocks. Nice.
All night the boy has kept me lucid. I sat, when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island, I sat at the edge and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night. He's mute and he is retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
There we go. The narrator is really good as well, but the actual story that they're talking about is complete trash. Let's see here. You're chilling to the music. Nice. Yeah, that is actually one important detail of the design of these games. The music is really, the music and visuals combined really helps. Just have this really chill experience.
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
What? You want me to go into the boat? No, I don't think so. We came from there, right? Okay. We're most likely supposed to go up here then. Or? Yeah. Here we go.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Well, I wonder if this was the first walking sim by indies.
I've begun my ascent on the green slope of the western side. I've looked deep into the mountain from the shaft and understood that I must go up and then find the way under. I will stash the last vestiges of my civilization in the stone walls and work deeper from there. I'm drawn by the aerial and the cliff edge. There is some form of rebirth waiting for me there.
Walking sim, so this is a thing? Yeah, this is a thing. I think Dear Esther was one of the earlier ones. Like, this one is pretty old. I think this is Source.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not.
Well done, Aloof.
He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
The only fact why we are still doing this is that I know that this is super short. And that the music is really good.
My heart is landfill. These false dawns waking into the still never light. I sweat for you in the small hours and wrap my blankets into a mass. I have always heard the waves break on these lost shores, always the gulls forgotten. I can lift this bottle to my ear, and all there ever is for me is this Hebridean music.
It mentions the theme while also providing a difference, like the longest sonata I've ever heard. Nice from. I haven't noticed a theme yet,
They told Donnelly was deformed,
or at least not
the result of some birth defect,
combined with
perhaps a
the first
traumatic
song that we
injury as a
listened to.
child. Brittle and overblown it was, and desperately light. Perhaps it was this that finally did for him, unable to contain the shattering of his heart.
But nice.
In half-light,
But that's why you are the
skeleton of
musician
discarded prop,
and I am the coder.
a false and calcified seabird.
Although I do have a piano here, electric though. If it was an analog, most likely would have been thrown out due to the sound levels.
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. He'd struggled halfway down the cliff path, perhaps looking for some lost goat, or perhaps in a delirium, and expired, curled into a claw right under the winter moon. Even the animals shunned his corpse. The mainlanders thought to bring it
Yeah,
home
but is it
unlucky.
the same
Some
theme
claimed
as
they
in the
dragged
first
it to the
song,
caves
which
to
you
thaw
heard
out
like
and rot. But they
half
had
an hour
proven
ago?
unreliable witness.
For this one, I've definitely heard the different variations on the various riff.
Climbing down to
And
the
here you
caves,
can even
I
hear the
slipped
chord
and fell
progression
and
quite
injured my
clearly
leg. I think the femur
in the high
was broken.
strings.
It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in
Nice.
waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
But over 30, 45, it is getting hard to remember. Yeah. Okay, I think we are in the caves now. I think this might be the third chapter.
From here, this last time, I have understood there is no turning back. The torch is failing along with my resolve. I hear the singing of the sea creatures from the passages above me, and they are promising the return of the gulls.
Let's see if you can hear the theme song from the previous in this one. I think it might. Kinda. Yeah, it's kinda there. You're right. I can hear it too. At least in this one. Nice.
They'd stop the traffic back as far as the Sanford Junction and come up the hard shoulder like radio signals from another star. It took 21 minutes for them to arrive. I watched Paul time it to the second on his watch.
You could say that this is a bit like a roller coaster. You follow the rail and then you have all of these pretty narration in places. On fire. Good, now we can save. And level up with our souls. Storytelling roller coasters are really hit or miss through from person experience. Oh yeah, definitely. Are we supposed to? Let's go back and see if we can see another path that we should take. I have no idea. It feels like we're backtracking now. That there was something down there that we missed. pretty. Wait, this is not where we... This is a new place. What? No! Hmm. Now you can totally see that they are focused a lot to kind of like capture many of these first impressions when you come into a new area, kind of like which you could almost put as wallpapers because they're so well, so beautiful. Definitely the exploratory game. Yeah, the perspectives are really good. Okay. Now we're starting to become a bit more adventure-ish, you know? Like, ooh, watch out so that we don't slip and fall down and so on. Doing some spelunking and like, just perfect. Beautiful, I mean. Now, if you just gave me an axe and a shield and axe and some classes, then you would definitely have a solid first-person RPG here. With these kind of dungeons. And I'm not even crouching, the game does it for me. It's predetermined. And here, bam.
In my final dream, I sat at peace with Jakobsen and watched the moon over the Sandford Junction.
Sorry, I
Ghosts
also
raised on the hard shoulder. The world gone to weed and redemption.
Like, this is such a
He showed me his fever scars, and I mine.
I don't know, what do you call it?
Between
Do you
each
call it
shoulder,
perspective?
the nascent
Kind of
seed
like
flies.
having this place and you set up this perfect angle to get this incredibly beautiful shot. Add some looter type enemies and weapons, boom. Yeah. I mean, because this just looks amazing. Not kind of like graphically, but, you know. There are more beautiful games than this, but just that... The composition is just perfect. So nice. So beautiful, so smooth, so shiny. Not their prettiest work. Some imagination, the perspective is given really beautiful. Yeah. Short time? No. Up close it kind of looks a bit ugly though. But from farther away, it's pretty nice. Up we go. Yeah, That's because they were kind of like designed to be looked at from farther away than close. And also their technical limitations. Nice. Managed to sit and place out all of these by hand.
This cannot be the shaft they threw the goats into. It cannot be the landfill where the parts of your life that would not burn ended up. It cannot be the chimney that delivered you to the skies. It cannot be the place where you rained back down again to fertilize the soil and make small flowers in the rocks.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a nice end of the day to beat this one. And then we do a headlander tomorrow. A chill, relaxing game is always nice to end stream. Yep. Indeed, especially after that hectic or stressful chapter 3. Holy moly, that chapter was stress. Okay. Under the sea. Are we supposed to go upwards? Oh no, whole world got underwater. There we go. Achievement unlocked. Esther. Okay, final chapter. I think. Oh no, 2 ways to choose from. Follow the light.
moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken
I know,
flight.
right?
They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
The idea is that when you're done with the chapter, it tells you when the chapter is over by giving you an achievement. To me, I don't care about the achievements, but it's just a good way to know if you've beaten a game or not. Like, if you get the credits for like, congratulations, you beat the game, and then the credits roll, then you know that those are not the fake
I
credits.
returned home with a pocket full of stolen ash.
But yes,
Half of it fell out of my coat and vanished into the car's upholstery. But the rest I carefully stowed away in a box I kept in a drawer by the side of my bed. It was never intended as a meaningful act, but over the years it became a kind of talisman. I'd sit still, quite still for hours, just holding the diminishing powder in my palm and noting its smoothness. In time, we will all be worn down into granules, washed into the sea and dispersed.
some gamers actually play games like Dear Esther because it's easy to get easy to get achievements. Honestly, there are some like super cheap games which has tons of achievements, super easy to get, whose only purpose is to let you build up a lot of achievement points, and people buy them. Or not people, but kids. At least I hope it's kids. Yeah, you want them to feel like achievements. But that's the thing. If you start to get achievements, then at some point the achievements will lose value. You get an achievement just for starting a game. You get an achievement for having watched the intro cutscene. You get an achievement because you reloaded the pistol for the first time. You know, that kind of stuff happens. Eventually.
There were chemical stains on the tarmac. The leak of air conditioning, brake fluid and petrol. He kept sniffing at his fingers.
Congratulations, you killed your first enemy.
Waiting as if he couldn't quite understand.
That one is
or
kind
recognize
of
their
normal,
smell.
actually.
He said he'd been travelling back from a sales conference in Exeter. He'd stopped for farewell drinks earlier, but had kept a careful eye on his intake. You could hear the sirens above the idling traffic.
And most AAA games are like that. A lot of achievements are super easy to get, and then you have a few which can be a bit troublesome.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
There we go. We're going upwards to the red light. We're going to the red light. Yeah, we can even see the stairs up here. That is the end point of the entire game. The red light of doom. Yeah. The red light of endpoint. Red light of cease to exist. Or a beacon of hope. Certainly. A beacon of despair. Since if the player had, you know, if the player was sentient, it would never want to go up there because then its existence would cease to exist.
I will drag it like a crumpled hatchback, tires blown and sparking across the dimming lights of my vision. I'm running out of painkillers and am following the flicker of the moon home. When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they restarted his heart with the jump leads from a crumpled hatchback. It took 21 attempts to convince it to wake up.
E.G. That before? Mind blown. Yeah, you could totally make a game about that. Where some of the bad guys just doesn't want you to, you know, or
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom.
you're not allowed
Fight
to
alone.
actually
I've been
beat
folded
the
along
stuff
the
because
crease
then
of
the
time,
entire existence
the
would
weakness
cease
and the
to
sheet of
exist.
life.
It's kinda nice.
Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
So semi-final boss would be the kind of like the player hero that is stopping you from killing the final boss.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses.
I could actually see
stones
myself
of the infection.
making that kind of game, actually. Or rather, that kind of a world for a game.
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal.
I don't know if I'd be super
Goodbye to the
frustrated
tangible.
or amazed.
Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
Yeah, I think I would make the the actual player would probably be kind of like one of those not sentient beings, you know, since you're controlling it. But the actual hero of the game will be a sentient being who has figured out like, hey, if we do this, we will have beaten the game and the game will be over. So now I'll rise up and kill you. You, the gamer, because we want to live. But then the player, but then that hero will keep the final boss in check, so that the final boss doesn't take over the world, you know. But you want to beat the game. That's your purpose. So you have to go through the good guy of the world, and so on.
This is not a recorded natural condition. The gulls do not fly so low over the motorway and cause him to swerve. The paint scored away from his
So who becomes the bad guy? Is it the actual the player who plays the game, or is it the good guy hero? Superhot kind of had this story where the game itself was sentient. Was a really new concept. Oh yeah. It was not really sentient. It was just that you had this. The government were controlling the kid, and then you ended up, or and then you ended up shooting yourself, and all of that jazz was really cool. I liked it.
We will leave twin vapor
Spoiler,
trails
sorry.
in the air. White lines etched
Oh
into
wait,
the rocks.
we beat Super Hot here. Not too far ago. Yeah, I like the game, even if it was a 2-hour long game.
Dear Esther,
It was
I
really,
burnt
it
my
was nice.
belongings,
It was a
my
nice
books,
setting.
this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who
Jakobsen.
remembers him?
Jakobsen.
I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me.
Wait,
I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom,
Mistake.
come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you.
still stuck on the
We've
last
always
level?
been
How
drawn
come?
here.
The game was
One day the
basic.
gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where
You're
hope
committing
will
suicide?
be sent.
I have a hard time positioning correctly. Ah. Or is he just going for a very cool swim here? No, he's hitting the rocks. What? This is the ending. Yeah, we've defeated the scab. And we did it in 57 minutes. See, Trump, you could also be the scab. And that was game 405. Now we're up to game 406 to beat. Credits.
Come back.
Credit rolling. Come on, I know you can do it. Ah. What? No music? Achievement unlocked. Ah, so Jessica Curry did the music. Audio remaster, Adam Hayes, Stewart, production, Little Lost Polly, design Robert, soundtrack Nigel, no, voice. Okay, there we go. We beat it.